The corridor echoed with heavy boots. Every step seemed louder than the last, pressing against the tension that wrapped around her like iron chains. Lieutenant Kara Vance pressed herself against the cold wall, her back brushing the chipped paint, her heartbeat hammering in her ears. 5 soldiers loomed ahead, their expressions a mixture of suspicion and arrogance. They thought they could corner her. They thought they had the upper hand. They were wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening. Kara's pulse slowed not because fear left her, but because control filled the void. She had trained for moments like this for years. Every strike, every maneuver, every breath had been rehearsed until it became instinct. But still, the human side of her, the side that hated confrontation and loathed unnecessary violence, quivered. She didn't want to fight, yet she had no choice. They were about to learn the hard truth. She was a SEAL, a combat master, and a force they were utterly unprepared to face. The tallest of the soldiers, Sergeant Roth, stepped closer, his boots scuffing against the concrete. "Thought you could sneak past us, huh?" His tone was sharp, filled with mockery. "Time to pay, rookie." Kara's eyes flicked around the narrow corridor. Dust particles floated in the streaks of sunlight coming through the small high windows. She could smell the faint metallic temps of sweat and leather. Her muscles coiled, her mind calculating. Every possible exit, every angle, every weakness, and yet she stayed calm. They didn't know who they were dealing with. Not yet. Roth advanced another step. Kara pivoted slightly, her hands rising just enough to appear vulnerable. Her mind raced with moral calculations. Do I disable them quickly and risk injury? Do I scare them into compliance? Or do I wait until they make the first move? She hated that this was necessary, but survival demanded clarity. The second soldier lunged. Kara sidestepped with fluid grace, her hand brushing his shoulder and guiding his momentum harmlessly into the wall. He staggered, off balance, wide-eyed, and immediately the others hesitated. Murmurs spread among them, whispers of doubt creeping into their bravado. Kara's breath remained even. This isn't about pride. It's about stopping them before someone gets hurt. She thought of the SEAL mantra: precision, patience, control, and she embodied it. The third soldier charged. She pivoted, caught his arm, and twisted him into a harmless fall that left him stunned but uninjured. She could hear the subtle gasp of the corridor like a tide of realization washing over them. Something had shifted. Time slowed. Kara's mind ran over every technique she had mastered, every hold, every strike, every counter. They attacked together now, coordinated yet untrained, in anticipating her moves. The air grew heavy with the metallic scent of sweat and adrenaline. Dust swirled in the shafts of sunlight, spinning around her like a halo of tension. Roth gritted his teeth and lunged with reckless anger. Kara caught his wrist mid-strike, twisting and guiding him to the floor. He crashed down with a thud, the sound resonating through the corridor. She stepped back, breathing steady, her eyes calm but fierce. And then came the silence. The soldiers froze. They realized what they had underestimated. The quiet cadet they tried to bully was not just skilled. She was lethal, disciplined, and precise. Their fear was unspoken but palpable. Kara's lips didn't move. Her presence alone commanded respect. "You, what are you?" Roth stammered, struggling to regain his footing. Kara's voice was soft, measured, and deadly in its simplicity. "I'm a SEAL, remember that." The words settled over them like a thunderclap. Whispers echoed down the corridor. "She's not just a cadet, she's a master." Their expressions fell, pride replaced by awe. The tension that had gripped the space for moments stretched into eternity. The remaining soldiers slowly backed away, eyes wide, respect dawning. They had learned a lesson not in textbooks, not in drills, but in the silent power of someone who had dedicated herself entirely to mastery. Every step they took away from her was an acknowledgement of her dominance, of her skill, of her right to command her space without question. Kara exhaled softly, a small ripple of empathy passing through her. She could have injured them. She could have humiliated them further. Instead, she chose restraint, proof that true power didn't need to prove itself with cruelty. Lieutenant Arden, who had watched from the corridor entrance, stepped forward. His voice was calm but reverent. "Kara, you handled that perfectly. She nodded, a mixture of relief and exhaustion threading through her features. Her hands dropped to her sides. The corridor smelled faintly of dust and tension, yet now it was layered with respect. The soldiers shuffled to regroup, their prior arrogance replaced by humility and cautious admiration. Kara reflected briefly on the moral weight of the encounter. In every mission, every confrontation, one had to weigh restraint against action, control against chaos, and justice against anger. Today she had chosen the path of discipline and, in doing so, had protected both herself and those who had underestimated her. The corridor now hummed with quiet energy. The soldiers whispered among themselves, eyes still flicking toward her. She felt the warmth of understanding ripple silently through the space. This was more than victory. It was a lesson in humility, in respect, in mastery. Because true mastery, Kara knew, wasn't about dominating others. It was about knowing when not to. It was about restraint, awareness, and moral clarity. And in that moment, she had embodied it fully. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. The corridor's shadows stretched long in the afternoon sun, dust drifting like memories of the challenge just passed. Kara's quiet strength lingered there, a reminder that power often lives in silence. And respect is earned, not with noise, but with unwavering skill and measured heart. Thank you for listening to this story from Whispered Words. If Kara's mastery inspired you, leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. And subscribe for more thrilling stories of courage, discipline, and resilience. Your next favorite story is just a click away. Don't miss it.